call the Fitchburg City Council to order. Councilor Clark, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please conduct the roll call?
President Kushmerek,
Present.
Councilor Bean, Councilor Boishman, Councilor Beazall, Councilor Clark,
Here.
Councilor Di Natale, Councilor Donley, Councilor Green, Councilor Joseph, Councilor Caddy, Councilor Tran.
Public forum. Anyone wishing to speak on any matter on the agenda may do so for not more than 2 minutes. If you are addressing public hearing petitions, you'll have an opportunity to speak at that time. Please approach the center table and identify yourself by name and address for the record and the item number on the agenda which you are addressing. Good evening.
Good evening, councilors. For the record, my name is AJ Tarigny, Chief of Staff to the Mayor. I'm here on three different items tonight. The first two, 284-17 and 285-17. And as you saw in the communication that you received yesterday from Mayor Di Natale, after our auditor and city treasurer spoke with bond counsel, we came to the determination that the city council cannot start deliberation and end with votes on two different sitting councils on one particular loan order. Given the regular scheduled council meetings set for December, as well as state advertising requirements for loan orders, there would be no doubt that that would carry into the next council. So Mayor Di Natale has full intention to resubmit those two orders to your honorable body on January 4th.
Move for suspension on 284-17. Second.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules on 284 and 285-17. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is before you.
Move 284-17 and 285-17 be given leave to withdraw. Second.
I have a motion and second to give leave to withdraw to 284 and 285-17. Speaking to the motion, Councilor Joseph.
Absolutely, Counselor. The city auditor and city treasurer spoke with bond counsel, and they advised the city to give leave to withdraw to those two particular council orders, because two different sitting councils cannot vote on one loan order. So for that reason, they suggested that we wait until the sitting council on January 4th to do so. Given the regular scheduled calendar meeting in December and the state advertising requirements for loan orders, there would be no possible way to have two full votes during the rest of the calendar year.
I've been here 16 years and I've never heard this one before, so I guess that's a new one on me.
I'll go along for the ride, but it's just, if you didn't want it to be voted on, we could have just held it until next year. It's just, I've never heard that a bond council tells you who can vote on a loan order and who can't. I mean, is there really a state law that prohibits two different councils to? Is it a recommended as opposed to a required?
For the record, I'm Calvin Brooks. I'm city auditor. We've talked with bond counsel a couple of times going through this. The first question we had of them when we started this process was whether city council in December could vote on the first time on the loan order and then January for the second time. And bond counsel advised that we could not do that. It had to be the same council voting both times. When we realized that because of the advertising requirements and the fact that the first December meeting now is on a Thursday instead of a Tuesday, which kind of screwed up the timing of everything, we decided to, the decision was made to delay both votes till January. Then the question arose, and we talked to bond counsel to say, can we leave it on the agenda until January, or do we need to withdraw it and resubmit it? And bond counsel advised that it was better to withdraw it and resubmit in January. And he's the lawyer, I'm not, so that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
I have a motion and second to give leave to withdraw to 284 and 285-17. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, councilors. One last item, my apologies. 283-17 is a pilot for between the City of Fitchburg and New England Solar Gardener Company in Matt Fournier. I'm asking for suspension on the rules. This particular agenda item is no different than all the pilot agreements that your honorable body has seen prior to. He'll be placing a solar array up on Fisher Road on an approximately 30-acre parcel of land. It's a 20-year agreement between the City of Fitchburg and the entity I just read off. And it begins with a estimated payment of $27,000 the first year and runs for 20 years, ending at $13,400. Do you have any questions?
Motion to suspend the rules at 283-17.
Second.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules on 283-17. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is before you.
Motion to approve 283-17.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve 283-17. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you, councilors. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
That said, returning to public forum, I know many of you may have come this evening from the public to speak to matters 284 and 285-17. Those were both given leave to withdraw by the council just moments ago. The items are therefore already acted on, and the council will not be deliberating further on those matters. And in fact, nothing new will be introduced until the mayor wishes to do so, it sounds like, on January 4th. That said, if you're here tonight and you so choose to speak to this matter, you may do so. Just please realize there's nothing further this council will be doing with those orders. Good evening, sir.
Hello, I'm Neil Delfeld on Gale Street in Fitchburg. I'm speaking to 285-17, specifically probably 284-17 as well. So there's a question of the City Hall renovations. It's a question of beauty versus cost. One positive statement was made. It's a leap of faith because it costs a lot, but is the beauty worth it? Is really the question. So if you can't afford a Picasso, you don't buy a Picasso. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're just stretching ourselves really thin on this. The first burden of debt will be paid by working class citizens. Everybody who owns a home is already going to be paying into this, any taxpayer, and businesses as well. But there's a kind of a double burden with the single tax rate that's being pushed in or phased in. It's shifting from businesses onto homeowners. So we do have a property tax, a personal property tax, which is going to pay for a lot more of this than people might be willing to accept. The current City Hall has some valid concerns. I mean, the current temporary City Hall has some valid concerns. You don't have private spaces. I understand that. And I agree with that. You need private spaces, especially for very personal business that's conducted there. You need storage, and the city functions are dispersed around around the city instead of located in one facility. But I actually kind of like the City Hall where it is. It's accessible. There's lots of parking, day and night. Sorry, this is South Park song. There is, it's functional. I mean, when I go in, I spend a minute, 2 minutes before, at most, before anybody acknowledges me. I feel it's perfect facility for the office work that I need to do, if I ever go in there. And it's like, getting a permit, paying a parking ticket, or something along those lines. So it's the new City Hall is actually having a planned parking ramp for city employees, but the public can use it. But if there's an overflow or if there's too many people, they're going to put you on the street, and you have to walk across the street. It actually seems like a lot of things are being kind of going to be less functional in the new City Hall. In the rebuilt City Hall. So I want to focus on I want you to focus on that a little bit. They have to demolish the interior to get the interior that you want. Otherwise, it's a big tangled mess. That was mentioned at the public hearing. It's one of the comments that was made was by a city employee was that we're okay where it is, but we'd like something a little different. So, how much do you need a City Hall? The library versus City Hall is actually kind of an interesting issue. If you pay for the City Hall, you won't be able to afford the library. Right now, it's reduced down to $6 million. So for the library, but that still leaves $9 to $13 million unfunded. What happens is that this is going to be a debt after the city hall debt comes in. I think that if there's any extra cost for the city hall, you won't be able to afford the library debt. You won't be able to afford to take on the library debt. It's a big concern because the library does need repairs now, and it's already being pushed back to 2020. The repairs are being pushed back to 2020. So what happens to the library at that point?
Sir,
Every time you hear a
I'd
number,
just ask you to make your final remark as your time has elapsed.
Okay. The library is far more important for a building community. You spend 5 to 10 minutes in City Hall. You might spend an hour at the library. You talk to people at the library, and it's functional at City Hall. I think the cost should be focused there. The idea of beauty versus cost, if you look at the porn shop at the other end of the Main Street, that's in a thriving business community. What drives business? I mean, you have social services downtown Main Street. The social services problem is, I mean, I love the social services, but the problem is that there's no crossover for capitalistic endeavors. So there won't be any money coming to a new restaurant. There won't be money coming to a new shop downtown. There's very little, and after 5 p.m., it disappears. Now you can have the theater, but that's still in the works. So we'll see if that happens. Well-managed debt is a good thing. Last comment. Well-managed debt is a good thing. It shows we are reinvesting the assets that we have. Take that and look at the schools, look at the library, look at the other buildings and facilities that we have around here that need to be reinvested in. We have to have the self-control to say no on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Good evening.
Evening. James Grealish, Pacific Street. On a separate issue, I don't know if I can bring this up, but the abandonment ordinance that you guys are working on, wondering if we can actually, ironically, slow that down, even though I've been pushing to go faster.
Sorry, which number, sir?
I thought it was on the agenda, but I don't see it on the agenda. The ordinance that you guys are altering for the abandoned 2-year vacancy rule.
Sir, that's not on the agenda tonight. Unfortunately, we can't have you speak to that item as it's not currently before the council. But
Thought it was supposed
happy
to
to have you follow up with us. And
Okay. I was just hoping we could add a definition of abandonment onto that, since the current building commissioner is defining that.
if you would kindly follow up with me by email, I'd be happy to speak with you about it.
Okay, I know I mentioned it, Marcus. So.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, return to the agenda.
This gentleman.
Oh, I apologize.
Excuse me, sir, is it on the agenda to speak about the proposed expenditure for the City Hall renovation?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. My name is Robert O'Brien. I live at 114 Bishop Road. I had the opportunity to review the DOR, Division of Local Services, Technical Assistance Section, review for the City of Fitchburg in May 2008. It was done at the direction of the department and the request of the mayor. And, this is not that long ago. It raised Fitchburg in the bottom 5% among mass cities and towns for per capita income. The number of school children identified as being in low-income families is more than twice the state average. At the time, it was barely clinging to investment-grade status for bonds. The prospects for stable, let alone improved financial position were bleak. They urged city leaders to make difficult but necessary decisions and to reestablish financial control. And this goes on in much more detail, and my question is, if we're about to expend this much money, have we had another review by DOR? Cambridge City Hall, which makes 100 times, or the city makes 100 times more prosperous than us, has multiple locations. It has departments, heads all over the city. 2 major annexes. Right now, we basically pay rent to ourselves, as I see it, the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority. As far as room, we've leased out space to several private businesses. There is no conference room because I understand the mayor took it for his own office. The cost of this project would exceed approximately 200 years of our current rent. As far as Fitchburg pride, everybody wants pride in their city, but we get state aid for 50% of our budget, or at least that's what this report says. I think the way to pride is to earn it and become self-sufficient with prudent and restrained financial decisions. And what attracts home buyers to a city? Good schools, more bang for their housing buck, low crime. I've never heard a real estate agent say, "We have a beautiful city hall." If this is such a great idea, then I think we should hold a public meeting or series of public meetings in a large venue with a 30-day publicized notice to give more than 50 people a chance to speak on this. There are 16,000 plus registered voters in a city of 40,000. I think this issue deserves more of a hearing than just checking the block to meet with the open meeting MGL.
So your time has elapsed at this point. If you could make your final remark.
I thank you for your time, gentlemen, and everybody would like to see, the downtown revitalized. It's a worthy cause. I do not, however, think it is worth the money at this juncture. We have many other priorities that need to be addressed. And I'm sure there are other options other than the ones that were presented by the architect. And I have the best interest of Fitchburg in mind. Thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Sam Squalia, 225 Scott Road. Speaking of the order, 284, 285, 17 on the agenda regarding the renovation of Old City Hall. So as much as I believe this project will be great for Main Street and great for preserving a bit of our history, I have concerns over funding of needed capital projects. In the Capital Improvement Commission meeting, it was noted that this recently submitted debt service proposal will be fully maxing out our debt service capacity, in addition to taking $1 million from free cash and $1.4 million from future revenue through 2022. So we've all heard a lot about the conditions at Longsjo School and the plan for action in the past few days. With Longsjo possibly being closed and moved to Crocker within 5 years, is this an option? And if so, what will be the future planning for the Longsjo Middle School building, reuse or tear down? We will need to expand our landfill in the next 6 years. What is the cost and plan for availability to do this? What will our revenue shortfall be if we do not expand, and how are we accounting for this? The library renovations are estimated at $19 million, yet the city is only committing to funding $6 million. What is the plan for funding the other $13 million needed to pay our portion of the state grant to pay for the library renovations? A 2007 study for our fire department service recommended relocating and rebuilding our Summer Street and Oak Hill Road fire stations. Fitchburg Fire Department recommended a 5 to 7 year time frame from now for those projects. Are these projects planned for any time through our 2045 debt service projections? So in closing, we're coming up on the end of our last strategic plan, Vision 2020. I would, before maxing out our debt service capacity through 2045, I'd encourage that we implement an up-to-date strategic plan, a list of capital projects in need of municipal funds projected out through that 2045. And then we can get a better understanding of the ramification of the loan order choices that we make today for 20 years into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll return to the agenda. Now ask for a report from the Appointments Committee. Councillor Bean.
We had 2 reappointments on the Council on Aging. First, terms expired November 1st, 2020, was for Ken Bujo. And the second was William Walbs. His terms expired November 1st, 2020. Both were approved unanimously by the committee.
Motion to accept the Appointments Committee report.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Appointments Committee report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. The motion carries. We'll now hear a report from the Committee on Records. Councilor Donnelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have reviewed the records and they appear to be in order.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Committee on Records report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Communications from His Honor the Mayor. We have 6 letters of appointment this evening, Councilors. The first for Matthew J. Brune as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Public Library. Second for Mr. Ernest Martineau, reappointment as Chief of Police. Third for Mr. Lenny Laxo, reappointment as Commissioner of DPW. Fourth for Mr. Robert Favini, reappointment as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Public Library. 5, Ms. Colin McKinich, reappointment for the Fitchburg Cultural Council. And 6, Mr. James Walsh, reappointment as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Public Library.
Second.
I have a motion and second to send the 6 letters of appointment to the Appointments Committee. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. We have one other communication this evening from PERAC.
Second.
I have a motion and second to place the one other communication on file at the City Clerk's office. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Reports from committees. City Property Committee, Councilor Joseph.
City Property Committee met this evening at 6 p.m. We had 5 items on the agenda. 275-17, including 278-17, were all in reference to different various easements for a property on Not Keg Street. All 4 were approved 5-0. 199-17, Bonville and Howard, representing Roosevelt CRB LLC, currently owning parcels of land on Roosevelt Street with an area of 2 acres. The company wished to gift them to the city as it has relocated and does not have the use for the land since it cannot be built on. That was also approved 5-0.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the City Property Committee report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Finance Committee.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Finance Committee report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Motion carries. Planning Board.
Motion to accept the planning board's recommendations.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Planning Board's recommendations. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Orders other.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules on 286-17, order authorizing the city clerk to notify the voters of the special state election to be held on Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is before you.
Make a motion to approve 286-17.
I have a motion and second to approve 286-17. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Petitions.
Motion to send 287 and 288 respective committees.
Second.
I have a motion and second to send 287 and 288-17 to their respective committees. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Announcements, Councilor Green.
I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I would also like to thank our Fitchburg Community Lions Club, of which our mayor, Stephen DiNatale, Michelle Membrino, Joan Goodwin, Sally Brown, and myself are members of, for providing 48 families with Thanksgiving Day and beyond food baskets this past weekend. A very special thank you to the president of that group, Steve Schaff, and Mr. Kelly, and the other Lions and the community sponsors who made this possible. Thank you.
Also, we have Memories of Main Street, a holiday festival, Saturday, December 9th on Main Street in Fitchburg between Pritchard and Oliver Street from 1 to 4:30 p.m. There'll be hayrides, music, a visit from Mr. and Mrs. Claus, food trucks, baked goods, a holiday market, artists and crafts, activities for children, and much, much more. Is there a place to get more information, Councilor Gaddy?
On our website on Pride.
All right. And visit Fitchburg Pride's website for more information.
Second.
Counselor Di Natale.
I was asked, Mr. President, to read a letter from the, on behalf of the Disability Commission. On behalf of the Disability Commission for the City of Fitchburg, we would like to express our deepest thanks to City Clerk Anna Farrell, Superintendent of Schools Andrew Ravenel, Lenny Laxo, and the DPW crews for their role in helping to fix the inaccessibility of Memorial Middle School on November 7th, 2017. It was reported by a voter that they could not get into the building's gym to vote due to a 2-inch ledge at the base of the door. The Disability Commission would like to applaud you on your quick response in helping to create a paved ramp to make sure everyone that wanted to vote could. A problem reported and fixed within 2 hours. It is very much appreciated. Deanna Tardif on behalf of the Disability Commission. She asked that I read that for you on behalf of the commission.
Thank you, Counselor Di Natale. I'd also like to add, we made a motion to suspension of the rules earlier, but just making voters aware of the special state election for state senate on Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. Please make sure you go out and vote. And lastly, folks, don't forget about Thanksgiving morning, where the Red Raiders will take on Leominster at 10 a.m. at Crocker Field. Go Red Raiders. I have a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, councilors.